today it's a very, very interesting live with somebody that I've really, really admire. Her name is Pooja Puneet. She's an author, she's a TEDx speaker, she's a life coach, she's a business coach, and she's transformed lives of more than 10,000 women in India and internationally. She's been trained under some of the best coaches, Brian Tracy, Brendan Brusha, Tony Robbins, Jack Canfield, and she has a phenomenal experience in what she does. She can help you identify your skill set. She can then tell you how to identify your niche, how to use your skill set and start monetizing, and how to create a space for yourself. Like, I have so many mothers and so many women who keep asking me that they really want to do something, they really want to figure out what is it that they can do, they really want to monetize their time, they want to be financially independent, they want to discover who they really are. They have this feeling that, feeling of living an aimless life. They feel that they are very they have a lot of skills, but they're not being able to use it in the right fashion. So if you have any questions, if you have anything, this is a very good time to actually get clarity, and Pooja is the best person to actually help you. I'm so excited to learn from her because she's learned from the best and I get to learn from her. So I'm really excited to host her, and I'm just going to add and invite Pooja. Did. Hi Pooja, how are you?
Hi, Riddhi. Thank you for that beautiful introduction.
Right. I think I didn't do justice because you do a lot more than I actually spoke about. And it is so wonderful having you here. I'm really happy that you agreed to come live with me. And Pooja, I have so many questions for you. But the first thing that I want to ask is, like, what really inspired you to start Life by Design? That's a company. I forgot to mention that in the introduction. Like I said, I must have definitely missed something. So she has a company. It's called Life by Design. So Pooja, if you could, it's a beautiful name, and I absolutely love it. So if you could just tell us a little about what inspired you to actually start it, and how did your journey as a life coach, as a business coach, start? And yes.
Sure. So actually, the whole thing started with me getting married really young. I was leaving for Cardiff Law School and I was 18 years old, super excited, very ambitious. And something happened in my family and my parents got me married. And for the first 5 years, I was just struggling with trying to fit in, trying to please them, trying to make them happy, all the things we do. And I felt so stuck, So one day came, I just went up to my husband and I said, sweetheart, while you're great, there's so much I want to do with my life, and being in this joint family, I don't know how to manage that. So I want to leave. He was really sweet.
Right.
He's like, what is it you want to do? Why don't you do it from here and then go become financially independent? So he came out to be a nice guy. So I said, okay, fine. I want to start a preschool. So I'm going to study for it because I didn't have education. And that was one of my big, things that was keeping me back, that I'm not educated. I'm not educated. Until now,
Right.
actually, not got my degree even now. So but anyway, at that point of time, of course, that was a big deal for me. So studied something in Montessori, started my preschool. Preschool actually did really well. I had over 100 children in less than maybe 3 months of starting the school.
Wow.
Did
That's
really well, yeah. And then, counseling parents there, I realized what I absolutely love is actually counseling even more than teaching the children. So eventually I flew to America to study under Jack Canfield, if you've heard his name, Chicken Soup for
Yes,
the
yes, I
Soul
have,
guy.
of course.
He's my
Right.
mentor and he's amazing. So studied under him for about 2 years, came back and started Life by Design, pretty much with the purpose that now that I'm happy again and now that I've been able to find myself, I want to dedicate my life. My mission is to help other women do the same, because I realized all that while that I'd been blaming and complaining to God, to in-laws, to parents, to husband, I didn't leave anyone, you know.
Right.
I really realized that had I just had more courage and more clarity when I fell off track, if somewhere I had been able to find my own identity, I would have come back on track much faster. But I kept
Right.
staying in that negative space way too long, you know.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, that's pretty much the
That's a
story of how Life by
beautiful story.
Design started.
Yeah, it's a beautiful story, and I feel it takes a lot of courage to actually go away for 2 years and
It
decide
was
to
go
study.
come go come. It was 1.5 year program, but I had to every 3 months go for 2 weeks.
Okay, okay. But it's amazing that you actually decided to act and you decided to come out of that whole negative space of complaining and cribbing and feeling bad about not being able to do it. So
So
it's
it was a very big deal then, because I remember going to my husband saying, I've never checked into a hotel alone. So can you just guide
wow.
me? Like, how do we do that? I mean, it's crazy the kind of things, like that can
Right,
stop us from. The reason
right,
I kept the name Life by Design was simply because everyone kept telling me, accept your destiny, be grateful. You have a fabulous man, fabulous family, lovely two children, good amount of money. And I every night would be crying myself to sleep that I don't know who I am. I don't know who I am. And I felt so ungrateful. So when I
right,
decided to name my company, I was like, I don't want to accept my destiny. I want to create my life by design. So
right,
that's
right.
how the name also got
It's
incorporated.
so beautiful. And from not going to a hotel alone, now you've helped over 10,000 women. It's a beautiful journey. And I'm so glad that you actually took the step and you've empowered so many women. And I have a small community of mothers, and I'm sure a lot of you are wanting, and they're already sending you hearts. So
Oh,
I'm sure they really want to learn from you. And I've prepared a few questions which I feel will really help them, and then we'll also open this to the audience and we'll take some questions from them. So
good
the
idea.
first question that I have for you is that what do you exactly mean by living your life by design, and how do you really manifest what you really want, because that's what your whole mission is, right? Like the mission
Correct.
behind your company. So how do
That's
you really design that, like
So
design
I
your life?
believe that like a farmer and God have to play in tandem to for him to sow the seeds so that God can grow the seeds. The same
Right,
way we are co-authoring our life with God. So every step of the way we have a willpower or a choice or always an option that we have to use for whatever we want to do. And then, God plays one move in the chess game, we play one move. Some of us believe it's all God deciding. Some of us believe it's all us deciding. I think it's a bit of both. So that's
right,
the whole life by design concept comes, that you know what? You play the role that's in your hands, and then allow God to respond. And depending
right,
on how he responds, then you respond rather than react, which is a major part of it.
right,
As far as manifestation is concerned, of course, I mean, The Secret has done such a big favor to us in actually explaining how it should be done. For me, it's more about staying in a positive space, like when you're vibrating at a level where you are connected to the universe, and you don't, I would say, don't allow negativity to hurt you, but recover back quickly. So if I used to have a fight with my husband, I used to have a 2-day Cold War at one point. Then it
right.
became 1 day, then 6 hours, then 4 hours. Now we can manage it in 15 minutes. So I'm
Wow.
saying the shorter the period of time you stay in that low vibration space, the more you will allow things to, come to you. And of course, having clarity of intent. So
Right.
clarity on one side, high vibration, you marry these two. For me, that's basically manifestation.
Wow, that's beautiful. Clarity and vibrate at a positive level. That's really, really nice. Also, like right now, because of the pandemic, like a lot of us are actually, especially women, I feel, because a lot is actually expected out of them in terms of managing the house and work if they are working professionals or if they're running their own businesses. And a lot of women, I have to say this, have really done a lot and they've used this time productively, and have also created some very beautiful activities and products for kids and have used their skill. But there are many who are still struggling, and because they don't have a good enough support system. We are all not very, very lucky and blessed with that kind of a support system. So what is it that you can actually what is it that you recommend that they can do to feel better during this time? And also, if they really want to do something with their life, how is it, like, what should be the first step for them?
Beautifully put, Riddhi. So true that, right now women are really suffering. I always in my webinars speak about how they're giving double duty, triple duty, because while children were supposed to be in school, husbands were supposed to be at work, in-laws were supposed to go play for whatever they were supposed to keep busy, and now everyone's in our territory. So
Right.
we are like literally, so I always say the first thing we have to do is become a lot more kind to ourselves. We are way too kind to others, and then we just forget to be kind to ourselves. So in spaces like this, setting boundaries become very important.
Right.
We are all the time allowing other people to take us for granted, thinking that if we say yes this time, next time they'll be nice to us. The
Right.
real truth is we are actually conditioning other people into treating us the way we are being treated. I also always tell my mom, you give us the hot chapati, you give dad the hot chapati. And there came a day when we wouldn't even ask her. The three of us will eat up the hot chapati, and then the last chapati will go to her. Or she'll be at
Right.
the back seat of the Innova, because that's how she wanted to project her love. But in the process, there came a time when she herself started to feel bitter because no one was caring for her. And I feel like
Right.
a lot of us women are conditioned to adjust, compromise, tolerate, all of that. So I think first we have to start to value ourselves.
Right.
We have to start to say they are important, but I'm equally important.
Right.
And one of the mantras I always speak about is I'd rather you be guilty than bitter. What that basically means is that
Right.
instead of saying yes and then feeling all that resentment, I would rather you say no. And now
And
we're all good people, so we feel guilty because we are not
right.
saying no, but we can always compensate according to what suits us. So if my mother-in-law, let's say, calls me and says, sweetheart, I have a kitty, can you come up? And I'm like, no, mom, I'm going into a meeting, but can I send you 2 salads instead? Or, is it okay if I join you in the later half of the day? And most of the time, she's okay with it. And even if she's not, I'll compensate later. But at least
Right.
I didn't say yes, because if I'd said yes and gone up, this is how I'd be sitting. And
Right.
that's a lot of us spending the whole day with that grumpy face because we haven't said enough number of no's. As far as what you can do in this COVID period, while I'm thinking learning is one of the best things someone can do right now. I mean, the whole self-help education world is gone to the next level. A lot of people are doing a lot of stuff where you can actually enroll yourself into art classes, Mandela classes, Zumba classes. I mean, you're doing such a fabulous job with just parenting. That in itself is a topic that I think all of us need. At least I wish I'd had. Now my kids are 18 and 21, but as they were growing up, I remember going like, I'm not speaking about parenting till my children don't grow up to be the right kind of children. Then I'll see if I can give advice. So hats off to you. So like that, I just feel like right now learning is something a lot of women can spend time on, so that when the world opens up, now that new skill set or that upgraded skill set can actually be used. And if Zoom is a form of any knowledge giving, like if you discover a passion where you are giving knowledge to the world, then I can tell you in my webinars now I'm having people from cities I haven't heard of in India. They will put it in the chat box and I'll be like, wow, my geography is really bad, because it'll be some small city next to Agra or some, in like maybe the eastern states, and I won't know the names of those. And I'm like, wow, look at how grateful we should be that the world's become so open now and our reach has amplified. So anyone in the knowledge giving space, I can assure you right now, the kind of money my tribe members are making because of the reach is also like really transformational.
Right, right. And this is very like you rightly said, that use this time to educate yourself. And I have actually experienced this firsthand, because I was in a retail business, and of course because of COVID, everything was on pause and nothing was really moving. And that's when I got introduced to multiple digital courses, also read a lot, and I feel it definitely opened a new space for me, which I had never imagined that I would really be in. And I feel that if you can really educate yourself, trust yourself, and take action. And also, one very beautiful thing that you mentioned was that value yourself. I absolutely love that, Pooja. And I also tell the same to my parents, that learn to value, because what we do as mothers is that, we go on compromising. And when you are always compromising, you also start to expect at that level. Your
So true.
expectations really build up. And you know, people don't always deliver just like you do, and when they don't, it
Beautiful.
really hurts you. So I
Yes.
always tell parents that, you know, if you want to feed your baby, if you feel it's going to take 1 hour, you feed yourself first. Make sure you have the energy. Don't feel like, you know, don't feel guilty about not feeding your baby and sitting with a plate and eating. And I always do that, you know, before I start feeding my son, I make sure that I'm well fed, so that when I'm
Wow.
feeding him, I'm not irritated, and, you know, I have more patience and all of that. So it's very, very important that you take care of yourself, and you're not being guilty, you're just being a little practical and sensible. I absolutely loved it, loving this conversation. And the next question that I have is about financial planning. So lot of women are actually working. They're making good money. Some of them are having good savings because of the family that they belong to. But
Right.
I feel that the financial habit, mostly among women, is not very active. You know, they're not saving and they're not investing, or even if they could, they don't trust that they would put the money in the right place.
Mm.
So, if you could just share some tips about where can they start, how can they start if they have a certain budget, or if they want to save something for their child's future or for their own retirement, how could
Right.
they do it?
No, absolutely. I think first, even before they start doing a financial plan, I feel like they need to start to create a better relationship with money. When I'm dealing with a lot of women, one of the things I'm seeing is that money is such a taboo topic because of our cultural conditioning on, money doesn't grow on trees, or it's evil, or it makes you feel greedy, or rich people are bad people, or you'll become arrogant, or, we've just heard so many of these sentences that I think we have such a major disconnect with money that first thing we have to do is change our relationship with money. And one of the things I always encourage women to do is start writing letters to money. Like, just go,
Wow.
dear money, it's so lovely to have you over. When you're in my house, everybody feels so secure, and there's a general level of happiness that's so much better. And I'll respect you, and you respect me. And when you stay in my house, I'll keep you properly. And just start to have that conversation, because I feel like for too long we've been told that, don't chase it, you're so
Right.
materialistic, or you're always wanting jewelry, bags, shoes, and we've been accused. So I feel like in our DNA there's a little bit of shame around money. And that's
Right.
kind of like, and having said that, if you already have a great relationship with money, then definitely, like, one of the systems I follow is the jars system, where you can put like some money allotted to any form of investment, which becomes your untouchable money. Like, don't touch it, invest it and forget about it. There's one which is for your expenses, and there's one for your splurges. So, and then it all depends on you what division you want to do. In my untouchable, I also just have one kuti jar, which is small jar, in Tamil we say kuti, small jar, which is for charity. So like about 10% in charity, 40 to 50% in investments, maybe 20-30% in expenses, and then the balance all goes to splurges like travel or something expensive that you want to collect and buy, and any of that. And
Right.
these percentages can keep varying depending on what income level you've grown to. And
Right.
you want to eventually make the big jar the investment jar, but in the beginning it's possible that expenses is your biggest jar, and slowly you want to grow your income to a place where splurges and investments become the bigger jars. And it's a
Right.
journey, it's a journey. But I think women are rather wise with money. Honestly speaking, I think jugaad as a word I just love using on the Indian woman, because I feel like, hame 1 rupee you give us and we can make it 10 rupees. We know how to haggle, we know how to save, we know how to get the best value for money. So generally, and we are the biggest consumers, right? We are the ones doing
Right.
all the purchases. So women have a great sense of money. They just don't have a great relationship with maths most of the time. So
Right.
numbers, accounts, maybe that you're not comfortable with, but actually with money we have a great relationship. So if you can recognize that and start to get confident around wanting to learn the jargon of saving and all of that, I think in a month we are smart enough to know the 5-6 things that we need to know to become super smart in
Right.
financial planning.
Right. Right. Also, the next question that I have for you And this is actually a most popular question that I get from most parents is, how do I balance work and home? Like, I'm struggling, I'm trying my best, but I feel that I'm failing. That's, the common complaint, that I'm trying my best, but it's impossible, especially because of COVID. So what is that one thing that you could recommend all the women and the audience watching this?
One of the things I mention is that, you know what, don't look for balance, look for harmony. And I'll explain the difference. Balance says every day you need to spend that many number of hours at work, that many hours with your children, that many hours in all your relationships, or maybe attending to home. That becomes very hard because every day is a new day, every day is a different day. So
Right.
there can be a day where my son who's living with me in my house, I may not see him the whole day. And by 7 o'clock, I'm like, oh my God, I've not seen him the whole day. It's okay. Maybe it was one of those days where I was delivering from 9 to 5 and I'm also exhausted. Over the month, you can always create the harmony of asking yourself, who in this month has got ignored? Like on the first of every month, I ask
Wow.
myself, who am I guilty towards? Who has got ignored? And then I go, okay, this month, my younger one is going to get more attention than everything else. So I'm prioritizing him consciously. And then can I tell you, Riddhi, most of the time when he gets over prioritized, by the end of the month, I'm like, I'm done overspending time with him. I mean, of course, he's also turning 18, so that's the age where
Yes,
they
of course.
don't want you to be too sticky also. So
Right.
so for me, then I realized, okay, now I can back off, and maybe now this month my mom-in-law needs more attention, or my husband needs more attention, and like that, in the orchestra, all the instruments don't play together. There's some instrument that will play now and then the one later, and that's how the beautiful music gets created. So very,
Right.
very important is that, what, all of us look for, okay, who do I need to attend to? Instead of feeling guilty, start using guilt as feedback. So
Wow.
you're asking yourself, okay, I'm feeling guilty towards this person I need to attend to. Not, oh my God, I haven't spent time. No, I'm going to spend time. And then it becomes
Right.
so much easier to handle your own guilt also.
Right. Yes, that's beautiful. So basically, from the thinking mode, shift to the action mode. Use
True.
your guilt to act and not to just think and feel bad. And it's very, very beautiful. And the next question that I have for you is, how, like a lot of parents, they feel, like especially women, they feel that they have a lot of skills, they have all the talent, and but they don't know what to do with the skills. What's the next step? They might feel that I'm good, I have a degree in MBA, or I've done a master's in economics, I've done this, but then I got married, I have no work experience. And you are like a phenomenal experience, like an example, I mean, because you've not got any work ex, and also you were married without having a degree, but you've still managed to do so much. So I just want you to tell the audience that you don't really always need a degree or work experience to do something with your life. So if you could just tell them what is it that they can do.
Absolutely. For me, women are like diamonds. They are so multifaceted. We are so, like, I don't think we can be put in one box. Rather, I to get bored every 2 years and I need to reinvent myself, because I think for us, most women, ideas are like popping by the hour. Forget by the weeks, by the hour.
Right.
Like, I remember there was a time when my husband used to be like, please, not a new idea. Because what, I get so excited about, Puneet, I think I can do this. And then the whole week I'll remain excited till doubt and fear and overwhelm and competition and everything will start to become obvious to me. And I'm like, that was not such a good idea. And I'll move to the next idea and the next idea. Till I read this quotation, which I really like, by Marie Folio, which says, clarity does not come from thought, it comes from engagement. And
Wow.
anytime we are keeping the thought in our mind and we're getting excited and we're not doing anything about it, ideas are like butterflies. If you don't use them, they're going to
Flyaways.
move to the next person. Then they're going to move to the next person. So you literally have to capture it and make it your own. And the only way to do that is to start to engage with it. So at one point, I was like, I want to become a makeup artist. And I went and did 3 days under one particular famous makeup artist who had come to Chennai. And after 3 days, I realized that's not my game at all, because it was all in the evening. It was all models. They were all smoking different kind of things. It was, and I come from a conservative family, so it just didn't match. Every time my children were coming home or my husband was coming home, I was having to leave. So it just didn't match. So sometimes you have to engage with something. Just because I'm passionate about makeup doesn't mean that, now had I tried brides or had I tried, regular people, maybe it would have worked out. I don't know. But what I'm
Right.
trying to say here is that, okay, even realizing something is not for you is one step closer to knowing what is for you. So for
Right.
me,
Right.
passion is always, my analogy is always, it's like marrying a man, You don't know whether it's the right thing, but you take a calculated risk. You go on a date with 3 guys and then you say, I think this is the one I like. Same with passion. You explore 2, 3 of your passions and then you say, okay, I don't know if this is the right thing, because you can never know. Just the way you don't know whether the man you're marrying is right. The chances are a month later you're going to say, oh God, I wish I'd chosen the other one. And that,
Right.
and but what do you do then? Then you make the man right. You don't know whether he was right, but you make the man right. The same with passion. The deeper you go into it, the more gates keep opening. And then you actually in that find what it is that you really would love to do. Like, had I not opened my preschool and counseled parents, I may have never reached knowing that, counseling is for me. So opening the school was not the wrong step. It was one of the steps.
Right.
So I just tell women, go and engage with things, because life is like an onion. You unfold one layer, the next layer becomes visible. You unfold the next one becomes visible.
Wow, this is so beautiful, and I absolutely loved what you said, that you have to keep trying. And I feel like, when you're speaking, it feels like, you're speaking about my journey, because of course, I've also tried multiple things, and like this butterfly idea, like ideas keep coming, you need to execute it. And sometimes, in the past, I feel that I had ideas, I just didn't pen them down. But this year, I have been actually penning everything down to make sure that, if not immediately, at least eventually I can get back to them. So it's very, very beautiful. And also, one thing that I really love that you mentioned, that once you discover that this is something that's not for you, that's also one step closer to what you really want to be. Because you do a lot of things and then you understand, okay, this is not true me or true Riddhi. And it's happened with me in my previous businesses. I was doing it, I felt I was happy, but now that I'm doing this, there's a corner of me that says, yeah, I'm so glad that it ended. When it was ending, it was a devastating period, for a few months, because you put in so much effort building it up. But now I feel that I'm so happy, and this is a much happier place. So I feel like taking action is definitely very, very important. And this was so wonderful. And I have, let's see if we have some questions from the audience. I think it's filled with praises for you, Pooja. So all my questions are hiding because of people sending so many beautiful messages for you.
So sweet of them.
Let me just see if we have questions. We did have a few, but now on Instagram it's very tricky. It keeps moving up and down.
That's true. That's true.
I did see a few while you were talking, so I'm just trying to find those.
Thank you, Miss Life Coach. So sweet of you. Somebody saying Hindi mein bolo. Are you fluent in Hindi, Riddhi? Can you speak?
Yeah, very fluent. I speak Hindi at home, so very fluent.
I live in Chennai, तो हमें इतना हिंदी में बात करने को मिलता ही नहीं है. And ज़्यादातर मेरे सारे clients English speaking ही होते हैं या Tamil speaking ही होते हैं. So I'm just doing it first. Sujit, I hope you're happy कि आपको कुछ तो सुनने को मिला हिंदी में.
One second.
Just have fun in the meantime. Thank you, Bhakti. Thank you, Suchiria. Discover inner magic.
Okay, there's one question from Suchi Ruya. How can ladies cut expenses, like if they want to?
So cute.
And there's one about cryptocurrency, but I think that's not what we are discussing, so we can skip that. That's again from Suchi.
Yeah,
But
actually, I've invested in Bitcoin and it's fallen really badly these days. So I think it's the perfect time to invest in Bitcoin. So I think cryptocurrency is going to be the way forward. There's no doubt about that. So yeah.
right.
So
And
apart from that, as far as cutting expenses are concerned, you're asking the wrong person. I always say this: don't cut expenses, raise your income.
it is
Focus on making money rather than how to reduce the expenses. Because you know what? I think too many of us are squeezing dry. And you know what happens when you go overvaluing money? Then you can actually land up being penny wise, pound foolish. So I always talk about look at how can you earn more. You know, that's more
right.
my motto than really saving money.
Right. And you know, this is something that I always keep telling my husband, that I can only give you one thing, and that is incentive to make more by spending all your money. And
I love it. I love it.
he's always
My
making
mom
fun
used to
of me.
always say this कि जिसकी बीवी मांगती नहीं है ना वो rich नहीं होता. So मांगना चाहिए husband से. So good.
Yeah. And I think Pooja, okay, one second. That's how to feel confident. Yeah, so this is a very nice question, and this is something that a lot of parents have actually asked me. It's like, you know, like they were initially very confident and very, very this thing about their selves, but because after marriage, some of them decide to take a break, or because the family situation is such that, you know, they cannot resume work, and because, or they decide to quit work for a few years when the kids are small, and now that they want to resume after 5 6 years, or sometimes it's even longer, 10 years, they feel very underconfident. They feel that the skill set is missing. They feel that, you know, nobody's really going to hire them, or they'll not be able to do much with their life. So how
Right.
can they actually, you know, feed that confidence and feel that they can do it?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's most of us at some point where we have fallen off track, and you know now we need to, the education that we have is not serving us anymore, and then you know we don't know where to go from here. So I always say two ways of describing confidence. One is taking small steps outside of your comfort zone, accomplishing those steps, or risks rather, small risks. So every day take one small risk. Ask yourself what makes me very uncomfortable and go and do that. And as you keep doing that, you will keep gaining your confidence. So many times I've heard people say, you know, when I get confident, then I will. That's like saying, you know what, I'll join the gym when I'm strong. Doesn't work
Right.
like that. It's the opposite. You have to do to get confidence is a muscle. So every day you have to do something and you feel more confident, then you go back, do a little more, then you get more confident, then you do, and it keeps going like that. And there comes a day when you feel like supremely confident.
Right.
And to me, now confidence is more about knowing that not that you will not make any mistakes, but that you can handle those mistakes that you will make, and that you will be okay at the end of the day. So if we can all gain our confidence coming from a place of that, what's the worst case scenario? Okay, if this is what happens, like every time I have to go on Instagram, I'm like, what if my internet goes off? You know? And
Right.
so for 1 minute, you're like, oh my God, how will that play out? And like, doesn't matter. I'll borrow my son's phone and I'll do it. I'll connect to 4G. I'll do something. And then you know, I'm not a very tech savvy person.
Right.
So one of the things I've had to do this whole year is learn Zoom, learn PPTs, learn, I mean, Teachable, learn so many different apps today that you need to learn and, you know, explore. Having to learn all of that, now I've understood, okay, whatever will show up, I will learn. I'm not tech savvy,
Right.
but whatever will show up, I will learn. You know, so I think for me now, confidence is all about being okay not knowing, and taking those small risks every day and building yourself up on a daily basis.
Right. Right. No, and this is very, very right, Pooja, because I experienced this year. So I can exactly feel what you're saying, that, you know, like because I built my own website, and
Wow.
I was, you know, technologically, I was like handicapped. You know, even the TV remote, I used to always give it to my husband that, can you please put this channel for me? I felt that I had that handicap till, you know, I decided to take the plunge, and I decided that I'm going to do this. It cannot be that challenging, and even if it is challenging, I'm going to try and still do it.
Right.
And I feel that once you take the plunge, you somehow get through and get on with it.
So true.
So definitely, definitely really, really works.
Right.
And there's this question. I think the
Hmm?
name is not there. Is the But the question is, how did you decide? How do you decide on what you really want to do with your life? Like, some of us don't know what our niche is, what our skill set is, what we'll be good at. It's some of us understand that, this is something that I'll be good at, or this is something that I like to do. But some of us really want to do a lot with our life. We just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And
I
what are
always
those
say
three options?
in the beginning, just follow your joy. Make a list of things that give you joy. One of the things I'll end up doing with a lot of my clients is called the passion test. It's done by a lady called Janet Atterwood. And basically what she makes you do is write down the 10 things that if your life was perfect, what would your life look like? So, I'll write things like I'll be traveling, I'll be spending time with my husband, being there for my kids, building my business, doing different courses. Like that, I'll make a full list of if my life was perfect, what would I be doing? And then I'll take out my top 5 and see how much of it am I already living. And that kind of gives me a rough idea on how correctly aligned I am with my life. And then I'll just go like, okay, let me see how can I improve each one of these. So let's say, how can I spend more time with my husband? What else can I do to build my business? How can I make sure I'm available to my children? And just because these are the things that matter to me, they give me joy and they are important. So when you do things like this on a repeated, at least once a month, I recommend exercises of reflection. That you
Right.
just sit down and go, okay, what do I like? I remember the first time I did this, I wrote, I love reading. The next time I did the passion test, I wrote, I love reading non-fiction books. Then I wrote, I love reading self-help books. And that's how I realized that actually self-help at that point in 2000 only existed in books. So that's how I was getting so attracted to the work there. And then
Right.
just kept going and said, I love making my own book club and having my friends discuss these self-help books with me. And then gradually I realized that, oh my God, this is my topic. So I feel like
Right.
we give up too fast. It's like we are waiting. So many of us are perfectionists by heart. And that's one of our problems. Because
Right.
what we are doing is we're thinking the day I know for sure that this
That's
is
when
the
I
right
start.
path, only then I will start. You can never know for sure anything in your life. Then how will you know about passion? What I do know is if you follow your joy long enough, passion will show up. And if you follow your passion long enough, purpose will show up. And all
Wow.
you have to keep asking yourself is this meaningful for me? Was my day meaningful today? Did I have a good time? Do I wake up with energy? Do I feel happy in my life? I think if you can answer yes, more and more yeses to these kind of questions, the chances are you are on track. If you are
Wow.
saying things like, I have bad luck, I'm so jinxed, I'm surrounded by negative people, nothing works out for me, then the chances are you've lost the plot somewhere and you're going in a different direction than where you're
Right.
supposed to go. And so you need to turn that boat around and again ask yourself, what are my dreams and desires? And start to acknowledge. I always say, be selfish to be selfless. In the
Right.
beginning, right in the beginning, when you start to play with your passions, for some time you're going to have to indulge in them and maybe not be available to the people who've gotten very used to you being available. So you will feel a little selfish. Most of us, we give up the passion to attend to others. I'm saying keep the passion long enough that someday it starts to monetize, and then the same people who are
You
grumbling
can
will
just
go,
be.
wow, you are so awesome. you know
Right.
so
No,
pretty
this
much.
is really, this is something that I also always advocate, that set the right expectations. Don't be a person who wants to please everybody. And sometimes what we do is we set the wrong expectations, and then people don't know how to behave with us. Because, for them it's normal for us, but you're going against your true nature to do it for them. So I feel you cannot do that for too long. It's not a sustainable plan. And I
Right.
love what you mentioned about joy, passion, and purpose. That's beautiful. And I think that's a great start. So, guys, like Pooja recommended, if you're stuck, follow whatever makes you happy, take the plunge, get started. And if you try hard, you'll definitely find more doors, and you'll definitely end up in a space that you'll be very proud of. So I love this, Pooja. And Pooja, one last question, and this is a question that I have for everybody that I go live with. One tip that you have for everybody who's watching this now and who's going to be watching this once we save this.
Just anything?
Just any one tip, yeah. Because I'm going to share it in the caption. It's going to go like tip from Pooja, and then that's something that that's mostly for me, because I feel I learned so much through these lives. It's amazing.
Right. No, I think I like to say this to myself every day, so I'm just going to share with you what I say to myself every day. I am responsible for my own happiness. So I'm gonna give that as the message to everybody today, that just stop looking at someone else to come into your life to please you or make you happy. They don't know, and they will do what they think is love for them. So they may love you, but they may not love you your way. So instead of holding that against the world, pretty much everybody, our children are not doing this, and our husbands, and I think so many of us are living in so much anger inside because the world is not meeting our expectations. I think just telling yourself every day, I am responsible for my own happiness, and then go do something to make yourself happy, whatever it is, and every day, if you just work on your own happiness, instead of being a sucker for or needy for approval and appreciation and acknowledgement and all of those things, you will become the giver of all of that. And the law of spirituality says that what you give out, you get multifolds. In materialistic world, what you give out, you have less of. Like if you give money to someone, you have less of. But if you give love to someone, respect to someone, appreciation, compliments, it only keeps coming back multifolds. So look at what is missing in your life and just up the game of giving it to more people, and just watch the amount of new energy that will get formed in your own life.
Right. This was beautiful, Pooja. I absolutely loved it. I feel very charged up after speaking with you. It was amazing. And everybody watching this, please go follow Pooja. I'm sure you've already done it, but if you still haven't, you must, because she can transform your life, and she's done it for so many. So she can definitely do it for you. She also has class. Pooja, can you quickly also share a little about the courses that you have? Because some of them might actually be interested. I forgot to ask you that, but if you could just mention a little about your webinars and the courses that you have for women.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, we do every weekend. So this Saturday we have a 4-hour session. So anyone looking to work on their identity, to work on their relationship with money, and wanting to become financially free and start to get the respect they know they deserve but are yet not getting, then we have a lovely 4-hour masterclass this Saturday. It's called Designing Your Life in Under 4 Hours. So we'll share the link under this video once you post it. I'll ask someone from my team to share the link.
I think the link is not clickable on Instagram. So what people can do is
so they can go to my bio. So if they just go Puneet, then they can just go. The link is in the bio also, so they can just go click it there and register for it. I would love to see you and have you 4 hours just with me. It will be lovely.
Right, perfect. Thank you so much, Pooja. It was lovely hosting you. Had a great time.
Thank you so much, Riddhi. I'm so happy and honored to be here. You are such a charming, beautiful. Your aura is so gorgeous. So it was absolutely fabulous. I feel like we are some soul sisters from some other birth.
Yes, thank you so much. It was really nice having you here, Pooja. Thank you.
All right.